New Zealand has a self-confessed king of TikTok. No, it's not me, and I certainly don't want it to be me. That would be tragic. But, of course, it is someone that we should all know. The Right Honourable Prime Minister Christopher Luxon. Now, Christopher Luxon is the most memeable Prime Minister we've had in a long time. Because if we look at how he uses TikTok in particular, it is hard not to look at it and cringe and recoil and think, what is this guy doing? Now, admittedly, it gets clicks, it gets attention, and he's still getting his point across most of the time. But it's still cringe. 1 minute he's doing ASMR to tell us about tax relief or something else. I don't know. But he's doing ASMR over here, and if you don't know what that is, it's like when someone talks really quietly, touches things, and makes weird sounds. ASMR. Now, he's done that. Additionally, he just uses the weirdest TikTok trends he can find, and of course this is undoubtedly set up by his media team, and he does it. So there's this one girl who's gone viral across the world, being used to make, drum and bass mixes and a range of other sorts of things because of what she says. And Christopher Luxon has taken this, something which has undoubtedly had billions of views across the world, and made it into his own thing to talk about the budget.
I'm looking for a man in finance, the trust fund.
Okay, my turn. I'm looking at our first budget. Less tax, savings, no waste. Budget, less tax, savings, no waste. Budget, less tax, savings, no waste.
Obviously, you can see what he's going for, but it reminds me more of a children's show, right? Like for 3 or 4 year olds. You could almost argue that there is elements of Dora the Explorer there. I am tempted, every single time I listen to it, I'm just tempted to say swipe or no swiping over and over again. And perhaps that's what the opposition could say. If they see something that they don't like about the government, or if they see the government trying to take away jobs or take away money from these people, they could say swipe or no swiping. I don't know, something like that. It would be hilarious. When you listen to this, you think children's show, and I don't know, you can't really change my mind there. That is what he's doing. Unfortunately for Christopher Luxon, as memeable as he is right now, he is not the king of TikTok. In New Zealand, perhaps, but I would argue most would disagree. The real king of TikTok has one video to his name.
The president is now on TikTok. It's my honor.
Donald J. Trump, the soon-to-be two-time president of the United States. Donald Trump last week opened a TikTok account. He's now at around 6 million followers and has one video with over 100 million views. That is insane. For context, the Biden administration opened their TikTok a few months ago and has around 360,000 followers. Something tells me Trump's winning this one with respect to TikTok presence, at least. Now, it doesn't help the Biden administration that they are attempting to ban TikTok or in the process of doing so. And from what I hear, Trump is planning to prevent that going through, prevent TikTok from being banned. Now, I think there's a lot of merit to that. If you've actually looked at the TikTok bill in the US, or the bill in the US that's being dubbed the thing to get rid of TikTok, for security reasons, it's actually a method for the US government to ban any app they don't like for the various reasons outlined, which could, in fact, allow them to ban things like X. That would be tragic, wouldn't it? So it is far more problematic than it looks on face value, and that's why they've tried to dub it as the Chinese are a risk and therefore we need to ban TikTok, but really they're using it so that they can have a lot more control over what apps you can and cannot use, full stop, especially in this age of allegedly certain apps are really, really bad and certain apps are really, really good because the wokies dictate it to be so. Now, that aside, just looking at TikTok full stop and the social media presence going on here, Trump is clearly winning with the young voters, isn't he? I mean, TikTok is pretty reasonably considered a liberal app, an app that a lot of liberals use. And I think a large part of that is because the younger generations tend to lean more to the left. And so naturally, given TikTok has a far larger proportion who are younger, that's just natural, right? But there is always, and there has been, a strong conservative presence on there myself. I mean, I'm not going to call myself conservative, but I'm not liberal, am I? There has been a reasonable chunk of people on the app who are not liberals, who are not progressives, who are not nutcases. And they have really been pushing the Trump videos for a long time, showing him for what he is, showing all the things that the mainstream media won't show. Whenever the mainstream media shows him saying something that they like to misconstrue as being negative, they show all the things about the same speech that show him to be the exact opposite of what the media is portraying. And they just do this all the time. They've done so for years, even before, dating all the way back pretty much since the inception. That is how Trump is winning. There is just a decent amount of people who are pushing it into the algorithm, and we're talking billions and billions and billions of views on Trump hashtags alone. So Trump is winning this war, and it's easy to see why. He's someone that you can listen to. He's someone who is funny. He's someone that is witty. And compared to Biden, he is just more relatable across the board. I mean, Biden has allegedly pooped himself on stage. Now, that's probably just someone taking the piss, but Biden does not know where he is. Here's a video showing you just how little he knows where he is when he's in a D-Day commemoration. I mean, as you can see, him turning around like that was not part of the plan. He just did it and everyone kind of just went with it. Macron's face says it all. It wasn't what was supposed to happen, but it happened, and obviously they don't want to embarrass the guy, although he did it to himself because we all know he was on a different planet. Now, of course, the liberals are all in the comments saying that, he was just turning around to salute all the veterans behind him and so forth, but that's because they're taking that specific section of the commemoration out of context. And it just wasn't the appropriate time to be saluting them. So, yeah, it's a lot of copium on the liberal side of things, but it's just another example of Joe Biden being out of it. He's not fit to be in office right now, let alone for another 4 years. I doubt he will make another 4 years. He does not look healthy. He can barely put a sentence together. Honestly, put the guy out of his political misery. Like, just let the guy retire, go to a rest home somewhere. He can barely operate. It is actually cruel. As far as I'm concerned, the Democrat Party's abusing him, right? He is their face, but he ain't doing shit. Let's be real here. He is not in charge. He's the face. He's the man that was elected, but the man who's elected isn't making the decisions here. The Democrat Party are.